Welcome to the Retro Video Store Podcast.
Welcome, everyone, to the Retro Video Store Podcast. I'm your host, Eric.
Hi, Eric.
And that's my co-host, Neil.
I'm Neil. And who is with us and also apparently old as shit?
Dave's here.
Dave. What were we talking about before we started recording?
Sleep studies, sleep apnea, and CPAPs, baby.
Yes. And we're looking at each other's sleep scores and all this kind of stuff. So
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we had our old man moment before the podcast. So, who knows, though? We might digress and get into more old man moments as the podcast keeps going. So.
I just want to say, in the face of my doctor, because my doctor was like, "Hey, man, lose some weight. You'll be fine. You won't have any trouble sleeping. Just lose some weight, okay, fucker. 22 pounds down, still losing weight, still snoring and sleep apnea like a son of a bitch." Ear, nose, and throat guy looks at me and he goes, "Oh yeah, you got some problems, dude. We need to get in there and operate." And instead of that, I would rather just have that little mask on my face. So, dear Kaiser Permanente doctor, suck it. You were wrong. Thank you.
All right. So welcome, everyone, to Sleep Talk. And we actually are going to talk about a good movie today. We're going to be talking about Manhunter from 1986. Michael Mann movie, and probably a little underseen, but deserves to be seen. It's a super good crime procedural movie from the 80s. Very influential on the stuff that you see today. It was kind of groundbreaking back then. But before we do that, I'm going to do what we always do. Neil, what did you watch this week?
I went for some oldies but goodies. Because we were going to watch this, I watched Silence of the Lambs.
Okay.
I tried to watch a little bit of Hannibal, but when I was looking for it, the TV series came up. So I watched an episode or two of the TV series. I have regrets. And I hadn't been to the theater in like a week or two. So my wife was like, "I really want to go see Sinners," which I think was her way of saying she wanted to stare at Michael B. Jordan. Because when I mentioned it, all my female coworkers all started nodding, go, "Oh yeah, Sinners. Michael B. Jordan, he's got a twin, so that's Michael B. Jordan times 2.
Oh.
Yeah. And there, I could imagine myself, my wife picturing herself as like a sexy Oreo with 2 Michael B. Jordans on either side of her. So yeah, I saw Sinners.
What you think?
It was interesting. I don't want to give too much away, but they kind of talk about what the movie is about at the very beginning. And there were people that obviously didn't listen to it because there's this bizarre scene with like this massive sort of musical thing going on. They're at this speakeasy and all this shit's going. And people were like, "That was stupid. I don't get why that happened." I'm like, it literally explained why it was going to happen at the beginning of the fucking movie. But it's got some subtle messages. It's got some not so subtle messages. And it's just different. I didn't love it, but I'd go watch it again. Just because it was a really interesting movie. It wasn't like a horror movie in the traditional sense. The horror stuff didn't come in for a bit. It was just it was a story about these 2 brothers growing up in the South. They were kind of rough gangsters. They went up north. Some shit happens. They come back down. It's very interesting because they kind of develop them as people. You get to see what had gone on with them. It just isn't like, hey, they've got this weird nightclub out in the middle of the sticks and all of a sudden vampires show up. It wasn't it. There was a lot that was going on. So the
interesting thing to me is that it's actually been number 1 2 weeks in a row. So it's nice that there's an original movie that is number 1 now. It's not part of a franchise or a IP, that has been out there for a while. So it's kind of good to see something that is at least, it's different is number 1 for a while.
I bought into the actors. It's tough when you see some actors and you relate them like, okay, that's who this is. Oh, neat. That's Jeff Goldblum being Jeff Goldblum pretending to be somebody. I really got sucked into who the characters were, and then got sucked into the story, and then being so big into blues and stuff like that when I was younger. Listening to some of it being played and the talk and all the lore around it, and it was interesting. I have yet to form a full on opinion. I need to see this movie again, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm probably going to watch it. Well, not this weekend, but next weekend. Yeah, I'm going to go watch it one more time. Why don't you fuckers go watch it so that way we can talk about it for real?
All right,
go watch it, Dave. You have homework.
Yeah, I'm not going to watch it.
You're not going to watch it.
Is it, Dave? Is it because it's got the blacks in it?
I don't know. It just doesn't look interesting. I want to go watch it. I've actually heard good things.
It's pretty decent.
Maybe I'll just say yes, yes, Neil. I'll go watch it.
You know what? I'll sweeten the deal. I'll send you the QR code for my Cinemark connections, and you can get 20% off on your concessions. How about that?
I have a hankering for some movie popcorn. That sounds good.
Dude, we saw a first show. That stuff was fresh. And I went all in on the salt bonanza, and I got a hot dog to go with it.
Oh yeah. That's really gambling, Take gambling with your life. You're having hot dog and popcorn.
Oh, dude.
And a Coke? Damn.
Oh, yeah.
That's pure decadence right there.
We made the mistake of only getting one, thinking, okay, we're grown-ups. We'll split the large. 15 minutes in, because it was like 30 minutes of trailers, like 15 minutes in, we're looking at each other like, I'm going to go down and buy another one. This was a stupid-ass idea.
At Cinemark here, you get a free refill on a large popcorn. I think you still can. I don't know, but that was like part of the deal. If you got the large, you can go and tear off the tab, and you can get another free refill.
Yeah, you can do that. You can do that here, or you can get the great big to-go bag.
No, God, I love the to-go bag. Holy shit!
Oh, my kid will dominate that thing.
Yeah,
bring it home. It's like Gollum with the ring. He'll just sit on it, sit with it between his legs and just hiss at
your
you.
Heart. Your veins constricting from all the salt.
Remember Susan Powter and Rush Limbaugh arguing over movie popcorn when we were kids, like the Stop the Insanity lady, and Rush Limbaugh was attacking her. God, fuck them both, man. Who cares? It's just great stuff. Dave, did you watch any movies this week with all Caucasian casts that you want to tell us about?
I don't watch anything this week. Eric, what did you watch?
Wow. All right.
Wow.
Quick throw to me.
Is he still crazy at work or what?
Yeah, it was just a long week. And I think I came home and just did other stuff. I didn't really watch much TV this week.
Well, that's a good thing we don't have a podcast about movies. So cheers. Good times.
Yeah.
Right. Well, listen,
a part of the show where we ask what you watched this week to expound on, your movie knowledge.
Well, listen, I did so well last week with my talk about warfare. And
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
All right. You'll get a pass.
Yeah. I provided, I think we're at once every 5 years, as long as I provide one thing.
Fingers are coming up. Good fingers are coming up. Dave read books.
Yeah. So I was sick on Thursday, and I threw out my back by sneezing. Let you know that.
That's so fucking awesome.
I do push-ups and things like that, and I've been doing them a lot, so I feel like I've made my back really tight. But then I sneezed really, really hard, and then I couldn't turn to the right or to the left, and my back hurt like shit.
I don't want to discount your pain, but I just want to say again, no one can see this, but Dave's got his fucking hospital mug out, and I love it every single time. Fucking respect. I still wish I had mine.
Yeah. Those are the most expensive mugs you can get because you had to go to the hospital to get
like $20,000 for that mug.
Yeah, exactly. But
yeah, anyway, this mug is at least $1,700 right here.
So I laid on the couch and I watched a bunch of movies. It was like Patrick Swayze Day or Keanu Reeves Day on Showtime. So I watched Point Break. Then I watched Speed, all in a row. Watched both those movies, and yeah.
Quick question.
I'm an FBI agent.
Quick question for you. Let's say your intelligent, lovely, caring wife threw out her back, would you have like rubbed her back for her, gotten
Oh,
the
hell
hot
yeah.
showers, the bath liniment?
Yeah.
Okay. But all I'm hearing is you laid on the couch. Where was your back rub and your hot bath? What's going on here, man?
My wife is a medical professional, the occupational therapist. She lent me her hot pack, showed me some stretches, and then went to work. So, yeah, that was the
Apple and a roadmap. Hit the road, bitch. Let's go. You're on your own, dude.
Yeah, she just went to work. So she showed me some stretches, which actually did help, and I feel better today. But yeah, I'm getting old, where you can sneeze and fuck up your back. So that's bad.
Go, David. Go, David.
Get him, goddammit. Yeah. And also watched CB4 with Chris Rock. I watched that too. I love that movie.
From the sweat of my balls, of my big balls.
Yeah, this movie's so stupid. I love it. Saw that. And then I watched Manhunter twice. So, yeah.
1.5 times. You got me. Only got you 1.5.
Then I watched a long review of the movie Possession, the one with Sam Neill and Isabella Gianni, and I don't own it, so I had to buy it on Blu-ray. It was kind of a rare Blu-ray, so I spent like $35 on it, and it won't come in until the 1st of May. But it's one of my favorite horror movies that I've seen lately. And even though it came out in 1981, it's kind of getting a resurgence in popularity and in consideration. So I had to buy that on Blu-ray because sometimes it's not on streaming. So the collector in me.
I wish I could remember it. It's got, is it Samara Weaving? Hugo Weaving's daughter. It's a movie about apparently people that are left after the rapture and people, they can't speak. I saw an advertisement for that and you just made me think of that.
There's a new horror movie that looks pretty good by the people who did the one where they touched the dead hand in the seance. That one.
Yeah, I watched that one.
Well, and then there's a movie called They Brought Her Back or They Bring Her Back or something. It looks pretty freaky. The same makers of that movie. It's coming out. That looks pretty scary and that I want to see. It's interesting. Yeah.
I think it's on Paramount, maybe.
Okay.
If you have Paramount or maybe Amazon, look up Samara Weaving. I don't know. It was kind of trippy. It looks like it had a decent monster in it. Who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe
I have all I pretty much have all the streaming services. I pay way too much for streaming.
Same.
I've got Netflix, which I never ever watch. I got Peacock, Paramount Plus, Max, Amazon, Shudder, and then the free ones. Of course, you got your Plutos and your Tubies, and and those like that. Those are at least the free ones are out there. And then with YouTube TV, which they have a lot of streaming options as well in libraries and stuff. So too much to choose from. Then I'll just sit there and like try to find a movie and then I wind up not watching anything because I spent 2 hours looking for a movie.
I'm not feeling so bad about that because my phone is with AT&T and my cable's Xfinity, and I get my internet through them. And we went into AT&T to talk about international calling because Sammy's headed off to Iceland. Yeah, she's going to go do some negotiations, see if they want to be part of America.
Oh,
really?
Yeah,
that's what she's going to go do. So we went to go talk to them about what the roaming charges were going to be, really reasonable. And they're like, "Hey, what are you paying for your cable?" And we're saving about $200. We just wrapped our fiber. We got fiber optic here where I'm at. So we wrapped that in. Now we're going to be saving. So I was thinking about like, geez, I got to ditch some of these services because I cut cable because that was how much it was costing me. And now my internet's insane. Fuck it.
Yeah.
I got it all now.
YouTube TV was a good purchase. I have Xfinity Internet and YouTube TV. I know this is riveting podcasting, but this is the means for us to watch all these movies that we watch. So, yeah.
So what do you get on YouTube? I mean, I'm on YouTube all the damn time, but YouTube TV, what do you get?
YouTube TV is basically cable. You get like ABC, NBC, CBS, all the normal channels, but then you get HBO and everything like that. So it's separate from YouTube. It's YouTube TV, but it's just like basically having normal TV.
All right.
And I pay for YouTube Premium because I'm a snob and I hate to.
Don't want the commercials.
Don't want the commercials. Yeah, so I pay for that. That is my you got to do that. But yeah. Anyway, let's talk about Manhunter. This is a goddamn good movie. I really, really enjoy this movie. I'll ask you guys first. Neil, when did you see this first?
I was not aware of this movie until after I had seen Silence of the Lambs. Was not aware of it, and then started looking into some stuff, and somebody mentioned it, and then I was able to get a hold of it and watch it on video. So whenever Silence of the Lambs came out, that was when I saw this. Because I'd seen the books for years. I never picked them up, and I know you said you'd read them, but whatever, I'm not going to do the math. Whatever year Silence of the Lambs came out was about the time I saw this.
Yeah,
As I had actually seen some of it, but not the entire movie. I'd seen pieces of it. Like where he comes out with the shotgun, where like he busts through, and I believe I'd seen a scene or two of Brian Cox being Brian who?
Cox.
Brian Cox being Hannibal Lecter, but had not seen the whole thing. And I remember first seeing it and just that full on 80s boner, man, with the music and the clothes and the way they're setting up shots and the lighting. As I'm sitting there enjoying it, my wife is like, why is everything in our house fucking blue all the time? Michael Mann knows, babe. Don't worry about it.
Yeah,
calm
exactly.
down.
We're going to talk about the themes of the colors that Dante Spinotti, the cinematographer, did for each section, because the blue is the security of Will Graham's home, the green is the off-color weirdness of Dollarhide's home, and the white is the pristine look of the FBI. So there's like thematic setups, almost like a Giallo movie where like Argento used the specific.
But you say almost like a Giallo movie, but this was watchable. That's the main difference between that and a Giallo movie. Yeah, I will admit there was some times the music was a little bit annoying, but nowhere near Giallo-esque. And the dialogue was actually worth listening to. So you can say it was like a Giallo movie in the way that like an elephant is somewhat like a gray whale, and that they both are animals. But no, fuck you and that analogy.
Well, Dante Spinotti is an Italian cinematographer.
Who cares? I don't see nationality and race, unlike some people when they choose movies. Dave.
David, when did you first see this movie?
I saw, I had knee surgery in 1998, 99 or 98, and I read Hannibal while I was recovering from knee surgery, and it made me want to read all the books. So I read the series after Hannibal, went back, read this, and I hobbled on down to the retro video store, and rented it on VHS or DVD, whatever was going on in 1999.
Yeah. Same as you and Neil. This came out, and it was really underseen. I remember seeing a little bit of it on like HBO or one of the cable channels. But then Silence of the Lambs came out, and they're like, hey, there was an original Hannibal Lecter movie, so you would see it, and it said Manhunter, the origin of Hannibal Lecter, something like that. They were just trying to capitalize on Hannibal Lecter mania in the early 90s, so they titled this movie in the video store. But I watched just kind of a regular release of it as Manhunter and enjoyed the shit out of it. I thought it was really, really good. And the other day I saw it was on Amazon Prime, and it was just on, and I started watching it. I'm like, holy shit, this movie is so good. And I forgot how good it was. So I've seen it like 3 times in the last 2 weeks, but it's a good movie. I really, really, really like it. And like Neil said, it's just that 80s feel. Michael Mann was a showrunner for Miami Vice during this time, and this has Miami Vice all over it. Just the kind of using quick cuts, kind of an MTV style shots, but also the loud music that they put in there, and then it's just, but it works. It's not too distracting. And I think it makes the movie better.
This settled William Peterson into all of his roles.
Oh yeah,
you see William Peterson walk into a room, you're like, motherfuckers are about to get caught. Someone is going to solve this crime.
Yeah, totally.
William Peterson is the guy to do it.
in all the stuff that seems routine today, every TV show has a profiler who's out there going, "No, the killer, he masturbates in the moonlight," or whatever. These with his recorder or whatever. He's just the killer. He's 6'3" and he weighs 210 pounds just from his footprints or whatever. The super profiler. Well, this movie started that. This really kind of is the first that I remember of somebody who was. They showed the FBI in a light of where they're actually solving crimes and stuff. If you weren't a true crime junkie like my mom was, she had all the true crime books and things like that. Well, this movie was the first thing that I saw that really captured that. And you can see its fingerprints on all over TV now. Do you want to hit us with the Internet Movie Database tagline there?
Former FBI profiler William Graham returns to This is why commas are so important. Returns to service to pursue a deranged serial killer dubbed the Tooth Fairy by the media. A more awkward sentence could not be written.
So it was.
Why do they call him Buffalo Bill Clarice?
Because he liked to skin his hubs. That's my Clarice.
Miggs in the next cell. What did he say to you?
I don't want to say that. It's embarrassing. Do you got a towel? Anyway. Yeah. Directed by Michael Mann, screenplay by Michael Mann, and I was watching some making of videos of this movie, and just kind of like some people talking about Michael Mann, that he's very, very, very precise, and he'll research a movie for years before he starts making the movie. So that's why his output of, when it comes to films isn't huge compared to other directors. But he definitely has a style, and you can see that attention to detail, especially in this movie. He did Thief, which had James Caan, which I've never seen, a neo-noir heist film. Makes me kind of want to see it because it's about a professional safecracker. Then he did this movie called The Keep, which is a really hard to find supernatural World War II movie where this golem is protecting this compound, and it's really weird.
It is a weird movie, but it's good.
Yeah, he disavows it. He doesn't really, claim it, and it's hard to find a real decent release of it. I wish they would do that. It came out in 1983. Then he did Manhunter, and then he didn't make a movie until 1992. From 86 to 92, he did The Last of the Mohicans, which is that's an amazing movie. I love that movie. Just the cinematography and the music and everything is just really, really good in that one. He did Heat, which is also very acclaimed. Movie with Al Pacino, Robert De Niro, and Val Kilmer. That's really acclaimed. He did The Insider, which I have never seen. He did Ali, pretty good. I only ever watched it once. He did Collateral, which I have not seen. I heard that's good, the one with Tom Cruise. I just, have an aversion to Tom Cruise, so I didn't see it. He did a movie of Miami Vice, Public Enemies, with I've not seen that. Black Hat, which I heard was good, but was kind of a flop, with Chris Hemsworth. And they did Ferrari. That just came out in 23. So he's very exacting. He hasn't really had a huge output of movies, but he's a good director, definitely.
He's got two upcoming movies, Eric. Apparently, as we say this, he's got an untitled mafia biopic. And then Heat 2. He's working on Heat 2.
Interesting. Heat 2. He's 82, so hopefully he'll be able to make these movies. I mean, especially at the rate that he puts movies out. I don't know if he's going to make those two movies, because it took him from 2015 to 2023, and then there was a break from 2009 to 2015. Yeah, so it takes his time in between projects.
How's the chase going to work in Heat 2? They're just going to have like little disability scooters with their air hoses on, scooting around after each other.
Yeah, they're getting a little old, De Niro and Pacino. Yeah. But this is based on Red Dragon by Thomas Harris. Huh?
They're going to be in their wheelchairs. fucking retirement home. And Val Kilmer's dead, so they're gonna have to do a hologram Val Kilmer. Like
Yeah.
they got the hologram Mike whatever.
Tupac.
Yes, Tupac and then Michael Jackson. That's the guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was based on Red Dragon by Thomas Harris. I did read Red Dragon, and I did read Silence of the Lambs. I remember reading Silence of the Lambs, knowing that the movie was going to come out. There was so much hype around it. So I read that like my senior year of high school, and I just thought it was weird because the weird thing that Thomas Harris describes Hannibal Lecter as that he has 6 fingers on one hand and his eyes are violet colored. So yeah, it's just odd descriptions for. I just remember that description of Hannibal Lecter in the book. So this was released August 15th of 1986. $15 million budget, but only made $8.6 million at the box office, and really didn't get great critical reviews. But it has a hell of a cast of people before they became big. William Peterson, like Neil had said, is now known for his CSI movies, and he was also a CSI TV series, but he's also in To Live and Die in L.A., which is a really good CIA versus counterfeiter movie that William Friedkin directed. That's a good one. Tom Noonan is scary as hell as Francis Dollarhide, our villain.
I actually have a hard time. I have a hard time seeing Tom Noonan, and anytime I see a movie, I think of him. Or with him in it, I think of this role. I can't see him as anything else.
I always think of him in RoboCop 2, where he's the leader of the nuke cult that turns into turns into the robot. We got to do RoboCop 2. That movie's fucking insane. It's just an insane movie. You hear that scratching sound in the back on my mic? It's one of the cats in the litter box. Dropping a big old deuce. So, yeah. Cat ASMR. If anybody can hear that.
It's awesome. You got the litter box just right out there in the open where everybody gets to watch them take a shit.
No, it's in the utility room, but the utility room is just like, off of a few steps away from the living room.
I'm not kink shaming. Don't be defensive.
Dennis Farina in his Chicago accent is in this movie as well. As Jack Crawford. It's interesting because Jack Crawford is played by Scott Glenn in the Silence of the Lambs movie.
And I think Dennis Farina's is way better. That guy can bark orders. Like,
yeah, give you a withering look.
Yeah, having been a cop, when he starts like, yeah, you go get on that, you get this done, you go get that, get the fucking move on.
He's got some authority.
Yeah, not as believable with Glenn.
Mm-hmm. Brian Cox is Hannibal Lecter in this movie. I think that he does a great job as Hannibal Lecter. He is more human and less mythic and theatrical than Anthony Hopkins, but somehow colder and a little bit more scary to me because he's so realistic, I think.
He's sitting down on the edge of the bed, just like hunkered in, like leaning in like a job interview, talking to you. I found him super fucking creepy for completely different reasons.
Yeah, Anthony Hopkins is awesome. I'm not diminishing his portrayal.
I'm diminishing it a little bit. I'll diminish it. I diminished it. It's been diminished.
Well, if you go get into Red Dragon and then you get into Hannibal, he's camping it up. He's winking and he's doing all sorts of stuff that he's really playing into it. Where Brian Cox is just evil, and he's still charming when he's using the phone, talking to the girl to get to Graham's address and stuff like that. But he is. You can tell or believe that him and Graham have got some history, that he fucked Graham up, stabbing him, Set your 6-fingered hand there, Neil. Kim Greist is Molly Graham. And Joan Allen, really early Joan Allen appearance in this movie as Reba McClane, the blind lab tech at the video lab.
Man, is that woman going to need some therapy?
Yeah, she's a little too trusting.
Man, is she going to need some therapy? And what happened to you? Why are you here? Humped a serial killer?
Yeah, did not see the red flag. Obviously, couldn't see the red flags.
Couldn't see the red flags. Yeah.
Stephen Lang as Freddie
Did you?
Lowndes.
Did you see the red flag? It was all kind of
It was
dark.
just kind of a blur to me.
It was a
Yes,
black.
it was a blur.
I didn't see it. I didn't smell the flag. I couldn't feel the flag. No Daredevil shit going on. Just straight into humping the serial killer, and then fucking it up right there.
Well, Stephen Lang is Freddie Lowndes, the sleazy reporter, and it's hard to believe that Stephen Lang looks this way when you see him now, and he is in freaking Avatar and Don't Breathe and Don't Breathe 2, and he's this really serious, gray, mean-looking dude, and he looks so young in this movie. It's hard to believe that's the same actor.
Have you noticed the hair he has in this movie is the same as the hair of every single damn teenage boy you see when you go out in public?
Yeah, he had the kind of the broccoli poofy kind of hair going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he definitely, he's 72, but he looks, in the see him now compared to then. It's kind of crazy. You want to hit us with some of the critical consensus?
Yeah, on its release, Manhunter was met with mixed reviews. At first, it was seen as too stylish, owing largely to Mann's 1980s trademark use of pastel colors, Art Deco architecture, and glass brick. A common criticism in the initial reviews was that the film overemphasized the music and stylish visuals. Peterson's skill as a lead actor was also called into question. Particularly critical of the film's stylistic approach was the New York Times, which called attention to Mann's taste for overkill, branding his stylized approach as hokey and little more than gimmicks. Chicago Tribune writer Dave Kerr remarked that Mann believes in style so much that he has very little belief left over for the characters or situations of his film, which suffers accordingly, adding that the film's focus on style serves to drain any note of credibility from the plot.
Are these guys on fucking crack?
Yeah. Exactly.
Because
crack is whack if you're a critic.
But there are some moments in this movie that are really ring true when, like, him and his son are in the grocery store and he's talking to his son about how, getting into the mind of a serial killer affected him and how he had to go away and stuff like that. That is good acting and good character development. You hardly see any male characters talk about their mental health in such a realistic kind of way.
Well, I mean, you do, but those are usually the ones that are little bitches.
Yeah. Thanks, Neil.
You're welcome.
No, but really, especially in 1986, if you weren't like sewing up your own wound in the rain and killing people, you were might as well be a sissy. Or he's actually talking about I had to go to a psychiatrist. I was in the mental hospital. I had to come out and come out better of this. That was
and then
pretty realistic.
The kid's like, "Do you like folders? Are you too much of a little bitch to drink this, Dad?"
Yeah. Neil, you got to feel. You got to feel, Neil.
I got my helmet with the light on. I'm going to undermine everything. Let's go.
All right, go ahead with the next part.
Sheila Benson of the Los Angeles Times was critical of the film's visuals and soundtrack, comparing it unfavorably with Miami Vice and describing it as chic, well-casted wasteland that delivers very little. The film's stylistic similarity to Miami Vice was also pointed out by Film Threat's Dave Boucher, who felt it was the chief reason for the film's poor box office results. Writing for the San Francisco Chronicle, Steve Wynn derided the film, claiming its lack of a strong lead caused it to fall apart like the shattered mirrors that figure in the crimes. Time was more favorable in its review, praising the intelligent camera batics and bold, controlled color scheme. Leonard Maltin gave the film 3 stars, calling it gripping all the way through and surprisingly non-exploitative, although adding that the holes start to show through if looked for too carefully. Manhunter was, however, nominated for the 1987 Edgar Award for Best Motion Picture. Modern appreciation of the film has seen its standing among critics improve. Salon.com called Mann's original the best of the Lecter series, and Slate magazine described it as mesmerizing, posting that it directly inspired television series such as Millennium and CSI, Crime Scene Investigation. Though calling attention to its Miami Vice-like over-reliance on synthesized sludge, The Independent called it the most aesthetic film of the 1980s and noticed its chilling integrity. British television channel and production company Film 4 called it the most refined screen adaptation of Harris's books, although they found the film's contemporary soundtrack dated. Sky Movies echoed this sentiment, summing up their review by saying, although it remains a classic, the film has dated slightly.
Well, no shit. It was made in 1986. Like,
And it's about things that are going on in 1986.
It's
There
like
you
watching a
have it.
film in the 50s or the 40s and going, oh, this is dated. Just still a good movie. Even though they talk like this.
Yeah, you see?
Yes. Dateline, 1938. The war.
Retrospective reviews tend to be less critical of the stylized visuals. The BBC's Ali Barkley called the film a truly suspenseful, stylish thriller, awarding it 4 out of 5 stars, and Nathan Didham described it in total film as a complex, disturbing, and super stylish, adding that the 2002 remake could not compete with it. Empire editor Mark Dinning gave the film 5 stars out of 5, praising the subtlety of the acting and the neon angst of the visuals. Dinning also said that compared to The Silence of the Lambs, Manhunter was arguably the finer hour for cinema's most alluring psychopath. Television channel Bravo named Dollarhide's interrogation of Freddie Loans as one of the 30 even scarier movie moments in 2007, and Noonan's portrayal of Dollarhide was praised by Simon Abrams of UGO Networks as a highlight of his career. Despite the low gross of its initial release, Manhunter grew in popularity by the 2000s and has been mentioned in several books and lists of cult films. These reappraisals often cite the success of The Silence of the Lambs and its sequels as the reason for the increased interest in Manhunter, while still favoring the earlier film over its successors. On Rotten Tomatoes, 94% of 49 critics reviews were
94%?
positive, with an average review of 8.1 out of 10. The website's consensus reads that Michael Mann introduces audiences to Hannibal Lecter for the first time in Manhunter, a modish thriller that fleshes out Thomas Harris's heinous creations with elegant, chilling detachment. Metacritic uses a weighted average, gives it a 75 of 100 based on 22 critics, indicating generally favorable reviews. Shall we discuss the legacy?
Sure.
All right. Manhunter's focus on the use of forensic science in a criminal investigation has been cited as a major influence on several films and television series that have come after. Most notably, CSI, also featuring William Peterson, which has inspired or at least influenced by the forensic scenes in Manhunter. Peterson's sympathetic portrayal of profiler William Graham has also been noted as helping to influence a shift in the image of the pop culture FBI agent that would continue throughout the 1980s and 1990s. The film has been noted as a thematic precursor to the series Millennium, John Doe, Profiler, The X-Files, and films like Copycat, Switchback, The Bone Collector, Seven, and Fallen, many of which had lead male protagonists that were little bitches and talked about their feelings.
Conan talked about his feelings for a little bit.
Well, yeah, he was drunk, though.
To hell with you.
Who can't say we all haven't said some dumb shit and cried a little bit when we've been drunk?
Yeah.
I'm looking at this group. I'm pretty sure all of us. Yeah, right here.
So, Neil, it does have perspective of the killer at the beginning, but not all the way through.
God, thank God. I'd forgotten about that. It unreasonably annoys the shit out of me when they do that. But thank God there were some cuts, and I was sitting there enjoying the 80s cheese with the music that it became forgivable, but it does just get under my skin, damn it.
I think it kind of paid off, though, because there were the parallels of the killer, but also Will Graham doing the exact same motions and walking through the house like the killer did. So it was, kind of a nice reason for it. So I don't think it was just, like a...
No, it wasn't a throwaway.
Yeah,
it wasn't a throwaway. It wasn't just some guy with weird gloves on and asthma.
Like Black Christmas.
Ugh, fucking horrible movie. God, that movie sucks.
It's been 2 years or almost 5 years since we did that movie.
It's been, guess what?
It's been a while.
Every year since, it still sucks.
Well, the thing that's so scary to me is that somebody would be fucking shining a flashlight on you while you were asleep and you wouldn't notice for a little bit. That would be scary as shit. The home invasion kind of thing is just, I think that everybody has that kind of, fear. And I think to myself, could I get to either of my two guns that are close to my bed?
I have several Second Amendment stashed around my home. And I know for a fact that either myself or my wife could get to one pretty quick.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Especially if we're in bed.
Yeah.
The only place I don't think I could get one too quickly is if I was in the shower. But that's why I went and did no-gi jiu-jitsu for a while. I am willing to grapple you soaking ass wet naked. Let's go.
Yeah, that's still scary as shit. And it seems like a trope now, but in this movie it's very effective where, Jack Crawford is meeting Will on the beach and he slides him over the pictures and, gets him to get interested in the case to pull him out of retirement. It seems like a fucking cliche now. Everybody pulls the master profiler out of retirement, but this was like the movie that started that trope or does it effectively at least. You're the best and we need you. David, you're the best. We need you out of retirement, man.
Thanks, Eric. I got 5 more years until they can pull me out of retirement.
So I do love when Jack Crawford sees Molly, his wife, for the first time. He's like, "Hi, Molly," and she's just like, "Fuck
just
you."
Ignores his ass.
Ignores him. Just very
know
chilling reception by the wife.
Fuck off.
Yeah, because she understands. Last time he was on the hunt, he almost got killed, and they fucked him up really bad. So, yeah, probably not wanting him to get back out there.
Oh, she even mentioned she was willing to walk away.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I didn't know if I'd be making it back. I didn't know if I'd be here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Apparently, when she went to visit him in that hotel room, he did not do anything too impressive. That wasn't a knee trembler. She was like, you know what? Maybe that's why I want him so sensitive in touch with his feelings.
Yeah, because he's going to,
he's, if you know what I'm saying. But nope, apparently not. Let's just hug. Let's just hug half closed with some sheets wrapped around us.
If you're in Francis Dollarhide mode, you're probably not thinking about pleasing a lady, pleasing women. Probably.
He just looked so unsure with little weird flipper hand motions, and she's just on top, just taking care of business.
Will is always smoking. He's fucking smoking like a goddamn chimney in this movie. Everybody's smoking in this movie. You forget how much people smoked. He's smoking in the elevator. He's smoking in the hotel room. Just smoking everywhere. But that's 80s for you. Remember you could smoke in McDonald's? You get the little McDonald's ashtray.
I remember when they would tell you, okay, do you want smoking or non-smoking in the restaurant? And you'd say non-smoking. And there was just a little 6 or 8 inch divider at the table. And you would sit right next to people who are puffing away.
Yeah. Smoking at a fucking bars.
We're still here. I don't want to do that.
If you go to casino, you come out smelling like the Marlboro Man's index finger. You just fucking smoke everywhere.
I can't. Oh, that is the one bad thing about walking through a casino. Is as soon as you get there, you realize God, my clothes are going to smell like this. Mm-hmm. Nothing I can do to get rid of it.
Yeah, but in movies, smoking looks cool. Just like in Blade Runner, just the way the lighting is and the lighting and the smoke and everything. That film noir smokiness is always adds to the shot. But yeah, one thing I did like about the movie is that you never see anybody or the families that he kills get killed. It's just description, and they say show don't tell, but the way they did it was very, very good. Because when Graham goes to the scene, and you see a flash of the crime scene, there's fucking just blood everywhere, and then he describes what's going on, what he's seeing. That's compelling. That was done really, really, really well.
Oh, a little bit about arterial spray, Pop got it, but he was still trying to get to the kids.
Yeah. Puts it in your mind. It makes it even scarier than if they would have shown it.
Exactly what I was going to talk about. Very little gore.
Yeah.
One kid scarred for life on an airplane trip when the folder falls open, and she's like, "Oh my God.
Fuck yeah, what are you looking at?" Yeah. Freaking out.
Don't look at that kid. But I enjoyed that. Just you saw, okay, somebody, got the ketchup packets and went loose in the room with it. But you always wondered exactly what it was doing. Mm-hmm. How bad was it? Yeah. I like it. They didn't just bury it and just go straight up, gore. We didn't have us a Terrifier moment.
Yeah, exactly. Or didn't, it was, you could see the aftermath and then how it affected everybody. and the description, everything. It was just really well done, and I think that that Michael Mann does a really good job of setting up shots, just the way it kind of, you saw the crime scene and then it pulls in just a little bit, but it's not super specific. But then it's a close up of William Peterson, and he's describing it, and you can see in his eyes. Just, it was good eye acting by him by him in that moment. It was done really well.
And the award for best ocular acting goes to
yes, William Peterson. I like he's telling everybody, dust the corneas and all kind of stuff. I love the look that Dennis Farina gives the two local police officers after his people found a print on the cornea. It was kind of a withering, like, you guys suck kind of look.
Who's going to dust for fingerprints on an eyeball? I mean, I don't know a lot of police procedural shit, but that just kind of seems like the last place you'd want to check for a fingerprint.
Yeah, I don't even know if that's possible, but I guess apparently it is. That was.
I guess so.
Yeah. But this, Michael Mann did meticulous research with the FBI, and so Peterson did, and knew. Tom Noonan is kind of funny. He started reading about serial killers, but then he decided not to because it was too grisly. He just sat in the dark in his trailer and didn't mess with anybody, didn't talk to anybody in the rest of the cast unless he was in the scene with them, and that he was so scary during his audition that he frightened the page or somebody that was reading him the lines and stuff, that he got the job. But he's physically intimidated. The guy's fucking tall.
He's a big dude. Sammy was reading some trivia, as she is wont to do when we watch these movies, and apparently he started like fucking around and like following like cast members and shit just to goof with them. If so, this guy's my hero, because you're already scaring people. So you're like, you know what, I'm gonna go all the way in with this. I'm just gonna start following him around, just see what happens on set.
The first visit to Hannibal Lecter is really, really cool. Just the whiteness of the cell and the way they shot it, because you can't tell who's in jail. The way because the bars are, kind of both facing the Will Graham and Hannibal Lecter, and you feel like they're both boxed in together.
And the way he's pushed back against the wall.
Yeah.
He's pushed back away from him. He's leaning in too. That was so tense. Enjoyed the shit out of that.
Yeah, really, really well done. And yeah, Brian Cox is just an understated
Brian who?
Colder Cox. Brian is more understated and more cold Hannibal Lecter. David, what did you think of his Hannibal Lecter?
Yeah, I thought it was good. Like you were talking about the phone conversation in the cell when he called to get the address. Like he wasn't. This is way different than Anthony Hopkins would have done it, but I still like Anthony Hopkins' Hannibal Lecter because that's the one I grew up with.
Yeah,
but it was different. Like he was way more charming when he called the lady to get the address. And he's like, "Well, there's got to be a Rolodex or the thing next to it or whatever." And she kind of chuckled at his little joke or whatever.
Like, why don't you just scroll down to a G and look for Graham? And he was master manipulator.
Yep.
The toilet paper message thing was kind of cool, that trying to figure out what he wrote, and they wound up getting Graham's address, and they had to get him out there. My favorite part is the when Dollarhide gets Freddie Lowndes, and he's in he's in his house, and he's like, "Do you see?" And then just how scared he acts. That's just legitimately scared as shit, not wanting to open his eyes, not wanting to to look at him. Just,
if you don't open your eyes, I will staple them to your forehead. Staple your eyelids to your forehead. Hell yes. He's serious about wanting him to see.
Mm-hmm. He's got the little stocking on under over half of his head, and he looks freaky as hell, and just the cleft palate and everything, and the kind of white, super whitish blonde hair. He just is scary looking. Then he bites his face, and then you just see him rolling on fire in his wheelchair. Good thing.
Yeah, the guy completely engulfed in flames. But did he say anything? Yes. He came in. He was like, "Ow, ow! Oh God, the agony! Kill me, please! Ow, ow!" That's all we got out of him, sir.
Well, it's kind of cool that they wait 56 minutes into the movie before you see the villain. You see his handiwork. They describe what he's done, and then it's not until halfway the movie till you actually see him, and he lives up to what you imagine him to be like.
Well, and I like that when they finally get to him, they focused on him for a little bit. It wasn't just a little snippet and then it went back to Graham. They focused on Dollarhide for a good 20 minutes of him. And
that's what I liked about it. That was, you feel some sort of sympathy for him because he falls in love with Reba, and she's like the only person that maybe could pull him out of that. But he's just, after they go on their date and she sleeps with him and all that kind of stuff, he cries in bed, and then he doesn't want her to go back in the house. But then he follows her, then he sees her with the guy from the lab, and in his eyes, they're kissing, they're being romantic, and then he's just getting something out of her eye. But that's it. That flips him to the Red Dragon, and Francis is gone. And then he's tearing shit up for the rest of the movie.
We didn't talk about it yet, so I'm going to throw it out there. All right.
Okay.
I'm going to lead you right into it so you can chat about this. So as we're watching the film, my wife gripes. She goes, "Oh my God, why does every scene inside their house have to be blue?"
Mm-hmm.
Why, Eric? Why?
Well, Dante Spinotti, the cinematographer, and Michael Mann devised a color scheme to represent different parts of the movie. The blue of the house where Graham and his wife are, that's kind of like the safe space. And then the white is the pristine kind of look with the FBI, but also with Hannibal Lecter. And in Dollarhide's house, it's either a weird red or a green color, and often sometimes a purple in the lab. So the color scheme was picked very deliberately. And even Dante Spinotti says that that every shot that Michael Mann does is deliberate. Everybody's is sat in a particular way. The shot is very, very, very well thought out, and I really like that. And you can tell the difference between a master filmmaker and somebody who's just, oh yeah, I'm just going to put these people in front of the camera and just shoot it. Everything is very choreographed and deliberate in the way it's done. So I thought that was very cool, and that Mann is really good at setting up a shot. Just like when they find out that there's a little glass cube on Crawford's desk, and the camera's pointed to it, and you can see him, kind of like an MC Escher kind of way of him walking off and stuff. So it's done very artfully in a good way, not too showy. I don't think it's way. The camera's not moving all over the place and stuff like that, but it is set up in a way that is, I think, is very good. The last part, I mean, I like the movie a lot, but I think where the finale is the weakest part to me, with the whole Inagata-Devita part. And Will Graham is completely ineffectual, jumping through that window. I think he's going to save the day, and he gets totally tossed away like nothing by by Dollarhide.
There's like all this buildup, and he jumps in and then just
he gets picked up, cut with some glass, and just thrown like a bitch against the refrigerator.
These are your feelings, Will. Wham! Throws him. Okay, you may have talked about being a little ineffectual. However, I find Inagata-Devita to be absolutely terrifying, and that's due to childhood trauma.
It is a scary song. It is like super, super long and really psychedelic, and it is unsettling to say the least.
When Inagata-Devita came on, the rule was in my house, you cleaned until the song went off.
Mm.
So mom would show up. Go ahead.
When it came on in my house, that meant my parents were getting stoned in the garage with Mexican herbs.
Oregano.
One of my uncles come in, has big old bag of weed in a Donald Duck Glad bag, and you're like, what are those? Oh, these are Mexican herbs. I'm like, oh, what are we cooking? Nothing.
We're getting cooked.
We're getting cooked. We're getting baked. Is what's happening.
Yes.
Yeah. When my mom wanted to clean, she would either put on Mexican music or Al Green. So Al Green, Let's Stay Together. I cannot hear it without my mom vacuuming, and then throwing our shoes at us because we left them in the hallway or at the front of the door, or getting in our closets and throwing everything out like Mommy Dearest. Very traumatic. scarier than Inagata to me.
So many memories of going to your house after school and like, hey man, let's do this. And you're like, I got to clean first. I got to get dinner
No.
started first.
Yeah, you had to earn your way to do shit. That's the Mexican parent way. And if you had a good time on Saturday, you couldn't. If you had a good time on Friday, you couldn't have a good time on Saturday. Only one good time per week. That's the law. Yeah.
Yep. My parents just wanted me out of the house.
Yeah. My parents. Anyway. So Graham eventually does shoot Dollar Hyde after Dollar Hyde wastes like 5 officers because they couldn't wait for backup. Which I understand because he was about to kill Reba, but yeah, that planning did not go very well. But he did save the day, and when Reba asks him who you are, he says, "I am Will Graham." So like, he's not like, "I'm Francis's buddy." You feel like things are going to be okay. Hopefully, until the next serial killer comes along and he gets pulled back into the fray.
What I thought was interesting, and I'm just going to say this because we didn't really talk about it, when he kind of has like the sensory experience thing for Reba, as she's feeling of the tiger, all I could think of was that fucking William Blake poem. Tiger, burning bright in the forest of the night. What immortal hand or eye could frame thy fearful symmetry? Thank you, high school English, for that. So I thought that was a clever little bit too that we worked in. And I don't know if he did that because of Blake, but he does research his shit. So I just wanted to throw that in there.
Yeah, I bet you that's probably not, just a coincidence. I did look up the top 50 serial killer movies, and this list sucks because Manhunter is like 31, number 31 on this list, which is bullshit. Should be top 5 at least. Pieces is number 50, which makes me laugh. The insane Spanish horror movie that we did an episode on during Turkey Month. It is such a funny, crazy, weird-ass movie. Watch the movie, listen to the podcast. You will never forget it. You'll always remember Pieces. The Clove Hitch Killer. I have not seen that one. The Hitcher. We've done an episode on that one. That's a good one. The Boy Behind the Door. I never even heard of that one. Summer of Sam, Spike Lee. That is actually a good one. Creep and Creep 2. I have not seen those. I've seen them on Shudder, but Serial Mom, Black Widow. I remember seeing that, but I don't remember anything of it. Death Proof. Is he a serial killer? I don't know. I guess. Deranged Confessions of a Necrophile from 1974.
Yeah, the picture on that, though, is awesome.
I Am Not a Serial Killer. Maniac. This one's a 2012 one, which is odd. I think they would probably go with the 1981 instead of the Elijah Wood version. Cruising is a movie I've never seen. It's very notorious that I want to see. William Friedkin and Al Pacino going undercover to find a killer in the gay leather genre or district in New York. Yeah, interesting. X, not bad. T.I. West movie.
Yeah.
The Cell, that's pretty good.
Fun to look at.
Tenebrae, Dario Argento.
Not even worth the time.
Frenzy, but Alfred Hitchcock, I've not seen that one. Black Christmas, Neil, is number 33.
Should have been on a list of 50. It should have been 51.
Perfume, The Story of a Murderer. I have not seen that one. Yeah, Manhunter is 31.
31.
This is an invalid list. Creep in 30. Blood and Black Lace. That's actually really good. Early Giallo movie, one of the first Giallo movies. Mario Bava directed that one. Element of Crime. The Bad Seed. That's actually pretty good. 1956. Behind the Mask, Rise of Leslie Vernon. I've not seen those movies. I hear they're interesting. Man Bites Dog. That's an interesting French movie where this film crew follows this serial killer and then wind up helping him while they're shooting the documentary. It came out in 92. That was Deep Red, which we did an episode on, number 24. Dario Argento. Huh? 2 Argento movies.
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm all right. I'm good
American Psycho, 23. That's pretty good. Huey Lewis in the News. Frailty, that's a good one. Eyes Without a Face. I've not seen that one. Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. That is really good. Bleak as Hell. I've only ever seen it once, and that's all I ever want to see of it. It is one of those unflinching, make you feel bad movies. Not a feel-good movie. Scream. I think that's a slasher, but I Saw the Devil. I hear that one is amazing. Korean movie. Memories of a Murder is also supposed to be really good. Directed by Bong Joon-ho, who did The Host. The Vanishing. That is a scary one. Opera. Another Dario Argento movie. Number 15.
Good. Skipping it. All good.
Halloween. That's a slasher. Arsenic and Old Lace. I have not seen. The Honeymoon Killers. I have not seen. Monster with Charlize Theron uglying herself up for that one. Cabin of Dr. Caligari. This is a weird list. 7, that's a good one. Texas Chainsaw, that's a slasher to me. M, that's a good one, classic. Peeping Tom, that is a classic movie as well. Badlands, I really like Badlands. Terrence Malick, Sissy Spacek, and Martin Sheen. They're kind of like Mickey and Mallory Knox before there was Mickey and Mallory. Two people going on a crime spree. Night of the Hunter. Zodiac, that is one scary-ass movie. Tense as hell. Silence of the Lambs is number 2. The hell. And number 1 is Psycho. Meh. I would put Silence of the Lambs over the Psycho. Although Psycho is a classic. So next week, that's Manhunter. Totally check it out. Next week, we're going to do a redo. Because sometimes there's movies that we really, really like that I'd like to talk about again. And Revenge of the Ninja, we're going to do a redo episode on. It's available on Tubi, one of the finest ninja movies of all time. This will be our second redo because we did Enter the Ninja redo, and now we're going to do Revenge of the Ninja. And after that, we're going to do Event Horizon for the podcast. So
My lovely wife will be very, very happy.
David, what are your last thoughts on Manhunter?
I like Manhunter. I didn't like how Graham would, yell when he'd, sit in the tree. You sat here and you watched him, didn't you, you son of a bitch? Just yelling. Like that was the only.
Overdone.
Yeah, each time he did that, he yelled and got mad. And I was like, all right, take it easy, dude. Fuck. Yeah. But overall, it's a good movie. I think you should read the books and then just watch the series, starting off with this version of Manhunter, then Silence of the Lambs, then the shitty Hannibal that came out in the early 2000s.
Yeah. Neil, any final thoughts?
Watch the movie. This is not a movie to be set aside lightly. This is a movie to be watched several times.
All right.
It was good. It was good. I had forgotten how much I actually enjoyed it. Really got into it. Made me want to watch the other ones. Just kind of like Dave said, that was my reaction after seeing it, was I wanted to go watch the other ones.
Yeah. I do want to watch Red Dragon just as a comparison again. I've only ever seen it once.
Sammy thinks that they flushed the characters out better in that one. So she said she preferred it for that reason.
I still like Edward Norton. I didn't think he was as good as William Peterson.
He wasn't as good as William Peterson. Don't think so.
Yeah. Different energy by Peterson in this movie. So, yeah. Anyway, if you want to hit us up on our socials, rvspodcast222@gmail.com. We are on the Instagram, which I have not updated this week. I need to. And then we are on Facebook. And then we are sort of on Threads. I got a brand new phone, so I got to figure out my Threads password and try to do that again. And yeah. There we are. But you also hit us up, send us an email, send us a message through the Buzzsprout site. And if you have any suggestions for us, I think we're just kind of open-ended. We're not trying to stick to themes as much because sometimes that we get bogged down in the themes a little bit. So we're going to try to vary it up a little bit.
No.
Yeah.
Say it's not true.
So, yeah, even though I love theme months, I think that we get more listeners if we vary it up a little bit. Nobody wants to listen to Alligator, Gamera, and Anaconda in a row.
Apparently not.
I guess not. Although our listens have been up since we did Dress to Kill, Final Destination, and Top Gun have all been pretty good. So, movies that people have seen. So that's a good thing. All right. Thanks very much, everybody, for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Take care of yourself, everybody.
Thank you for listening to the Retro Video Store Podcast.